Everyone, MJ here. I'm at a different place. Hot and humid, and my voice is full of congestion today. How's everybody doing? Welcome to Taiwan, where we have 0 local transmission. I think today's the 5th day in a row, and no deaths. Got a bunch of imported ones though, but I'm over here at a place called the Gong. It's a temple. And I'm actually not in the temple, because temples to me are kind of creepy, especially at night. This is a place beside. There's actually a restaurant over here, and there's a pretty interesting machine. It's actually a post office parcel machine. So this is kind of like a parcel depot, so it's actually not really part of the temple. This is my light here. Do I actually need this light? I have this set for kind of for yellow. Yeah, that's too much. Yeah, that makes it look even creepier. Do I have the filter in there still? No, I took it out. Okay. Yeah, I had the presence of mind to take it out. And the light actually gets brighter and darker, but it also goes white and yellow. So I get to play with it here. I guess I really don't need it because we got quite, maybe just kind of light up that side of my face a little bit. Yeah, because there's nothing but a fluorescent light there. Now I got a couple things. I crushed this. Or maybe I shouldn't have, but this is this is another one of those Japanese products, and it's an apple. They call it Chu-Hai. It's similar to what I got the other day. I had this. You guys saw this the other day. This is a different company, and this is an apple version. But I did get I got 3. I got an apple and a peach, and then the regular the plums. So I got the apple loaded up, and I'm going to take off my mask. And it always gets caught here. Big Dave, fist bump to you. Good to see you. Now, I have my little fan on tonight. Hey, Mike, fist bump to you too. I have my little fan on because it's hot, man. It's actually quite hot, and I might even pull out the thing to try to stand it off a little bit from me to make it go out a little bit. But yeah. Okay, so I don't want to put too much light on me, but I think that's a little bit better. There you go. Oh man, big sweat on my glasses. Boy, that apple is absolutely delicious. I love apple anyway, one of my favorite flavors, especially with cinnamon, but I didn't put any cinnamon in that. Anyway, I got my new glasses, and I don't have them on. Completely different, black frames, everything, because I don't want to mix them up. But I got them for computer work, mostly in the studio, because when you're in the studio, you're like this far away, just like this. Now, if I look straight on at the comments, I can read them, but they're blurry, so I have to go like this. So, and I know Ken Rod's another one. You see me and Ken Rod, we're going like this, of course, everybody does. If you're, pushing 40, that's what happens. And so, the reason is because the center and up is for the long distance. So I had a new set of glasses made with no long distance. These would be trifocals in the old days. Of course, they're variable, right? Which is nice because what you do is you get in the habit of kind of moving your head a little bit, and you actually find an optimal focus in between. You actually it's quite a wide range, right? But with my new computer glasses, there's no far side to them. There's no far range. So most of it is, it's kind of hard to describe, but it's a center space like this, and then the rest of it is medium. And what I did was I had them when I set up for the glasses, and they put the test glasses on you. I had them I had them hold something like an arm's length away, which is about how far my computer monitor is. It's like a arm's length away, right? And I could see perfectly. I mean, I could read everything. It was great. And when I got these glasses on and I put them on in my studio, and I looked at my 32-inch curved monitor with Reaper, and I saw how clear the tracks were and how easy it is to do editing now. Wow, I should have done that a long time ago. And I looked down, and there's the console, and parts of the console are about an arm's length away, like the display and most of the channel encoders, but then the faders are closer, but then I've got the reading section on the bottom. So, and the thing is I've had these glasses here for, I'll bet I've had these glasses since 2011 or something, 2012, well, before Phoenix was born, maybe? Maybe. I had them a long time. I just know they're all scratched up, so that place did such a great job. I'm seriously considering getting them to do, right from the beginning, a new set of glasses. They did a really good job. When they give you an exam, I always work with them. I work with them hard. I make them earn the money. I don't settle till I get, I want to be able to see across, because even now, I've had these glasses a long time, but my eyes really haven't changed. They're pretty stable, and for long distances I can read things like, license plates and stuff like that. And sometimes, excuse me, oh my goodness, sorry about that. Sometimes it kind of freaks my wife out that I can see a house number or something like that far away. But what I get is a lot of starring and a lot of interference because they're scratched up, and and they've never exactly fit perfectly, and I've had them smashed a couple times, and I just take my pliers and rebend them and stuff. So I've had to work on these earpieces numerous times, because every time something happens, like when you have a kid, they jump around. Phoenix has hit me in the glasses with her head like 50 times. What kids do, it's no big deal. But anyway, I want to say hi to everyone on Twitter Live. If you're on Twitter Live, please come over to Twitch or to YouTube, Taiwan Live TV, on both of those platforms too, because I can't see your comments. It's not our fault. It's not the live streamer's fault. We're not trying to snub you. It's the fact is that their API doesn't work, and they want you to use the Twitter Live app, and then that cuts me out of YouTube, and Now, this thing here, right? That's on full. I had it on 2. Now, how loud is that? 3 is actually, I don't actually need it on 3 right now. And 1 is okay, I can feel it, but 2 was like real good, because what it does is this, I showed you this before. This is a squirrel cage fan, and if I turn it off, maybe you can see the squirrel cage. The squirrel cage is on the inside, see? And when you turn it on, it spins, and then it throws air out here. So this is the intake, and the air goes up and out there. So it blows it on your face, on your neck, and up your face. And it's really, and whoever came up with that idea is really smart, because it really does quite a good job. I can't, no complaints. So I'm going to do this, let me do this a little bit more. So let me just, I'll tell you what I'll do. Let me show you where I am. I'm going to go up a little bit. There's a park across the street, and, well, okay, I'll go this way first. There's a school. School's over there, in that area. And then beyond, that thing over there is the stage for the temple. Whenever they decide to have strippers or Chinese opera or whatever they do. Then they use that as a stage over there. So, yeah, those sculptures were really good, weren't they, Mike? All right, let's go this way, go a little faster. This is the restroom, right next to a restroom. It's a men's room with a big, like a stainless steel trough like they do here. And there's a sink, and then there's another restroom for men and women. And over here in the corner is that machine I was telling you about. It's kind of interesting. But anyway, so I'm just going to go back. Like so. And then over here. I like how the variable speed, on the Osmo 4 works pretty well. On the joystick. So, you guys, about COVID, we're getting it under control here. And they had to close the school, though, for a couple of days because a pilot who is fully vaccinated ended up with the Delta variant. Boy, I wonder how that happens. And so, yeah, I'm being facetious because we're being lied to big time. But the point I'm trying to make is that this pilot's kid went to the school. So they closed the school, and they've been testing everybody every day. Nobody's got it. So only she has it. And she just recently got it, like within probably a week ago. So I got my second dose of the Taiwan-made Medigen. It's a protein sub traditional style. It's very, very safe. Again, no side effects. I can't even tell where they did it. I can't. I mean, they said it would be sore. The first time, I didn't feel anything, and I looked. I mean, they put a piece of tape on it with a cotton wad, because it might be a drop of blood or something comes out, and the needle and everything in the applicator. I was talking to the doctor, and the nurse just did it, and I didn't even feel it. It was less than a mosquito bite. Real quick, all done, and she was good, and she did it before, and but unfortunately, the United States has said that they're not going to recognize that vaccine. Which means if I want to go to the States to visit, I will not have the freedom that a fully vaccinated person will have. I'll be in the second tier, even though I am vaccinated. I just didn't take theirs. But now, you guys know I'm a big supplementer. I've been taking supplements for a long time. We talked about supplements. Let's talk about NAC, N-A-C. There's a guy on YouTube that's a mixing engineer and musician, and he was having hearing trouble, and he took NAC, and it helped his hearing. And NAC has always been used, as part of an anti-aging regimen. Now, Dr. Sears warned us years ago that the FDA is on the warpath against supplements. They don't want ordinary citizens to be able to buy supplements because the supplements make them healthy, and then they don't need the medicine. And I used to think that was a cynical way of thinking and all that, but now I know it's absolutely true, because now the FDA has just announced they're cracking down on NAC in supplements. It's very, very cheap. But why would they do that now? Because it's been a long time. I mean, it's been around for a long time. And suddenly, because it's in the news, because it is effective against COVID-19. So it's going the same way as ivermectin. What a world we live in, huh? I mean, really, it's very discouraging. I'm not taking NAC for COVID, I didn't know anything about it. I just took it because it's an excellent antioxidant, and it is designed to handle free radicals in your system, and that's why I take it. I took it under Dr. Sears' recommendation years ago. Actually, NAC is used to treat like acetaminophen poisoning, because that will kill you. Tylenol and those drugs, if you OD on them, you'll die. I read a story about a guy, and I can relate to this hard-working guy in Massachusetts. In Massachusetts, people work like dogs. And he was working all the time and had a lot of back pain, and he would pop like 8 Tylenol. He's dead. It destroyed his liver. One of the things that NAC does is it rebuilds them. It can help you repair all of those that kind of damage. And so, evidently they didn't give it to him. Yeah, no, they aren't. They're really small. Well, they're designed to be. Of course, they want to give them to kids too. And if they pull out this big, monster, they wouldn't get away with that. But I saw a study on YouTube from a doctor, and he didn't originate the study. He was talking about it, about NEC and COVID and people with comorbidities and on ventilators and really bad shape, and showed a very positive correlation at the moment that NAC was intravenously administered, and they were doing some high doses, like 30,000 milligrams. They would do 10,000 at a time over 8 hours, in 3 shifts, and pretty amazing stuff. But I take 500 a day, but now I can't get it anymore. At all the places on iHerb in the United States, they're all out of stock. So I found 2 big bottles of it here in Taiwan, and I'm paying $30 for it, but I got 2 bottles of 250 and 500 milligrams. Because now that I know that it boosts the immune system, I want to take it even more. I always knew it boosted the immune system. And in all the years that you guys have known me, my biggest problem is I don't get enough sleep, and I'm doing too much. But it's been a long time since I've had the flu. I think the whole time I've been live streaming, since 2015, mobile live streaming, I think I've had the flu once. And the guy gave me Tamiflu, and 5 days later I was back in action. It was amazing. That little clinic down the street. So I've been taking these supplements, and they really do help. But I'm having to cut back on them because some of them are getting hard to find, and I don't like that. So it means that I'm not getting, the level that I want, the level that I need. But oh well. Anyway. So I went to the dentist today. And here's what I want to talk about. You guys remember back when I was at Mr. Wu's, and I chipped my tooth right before broadcast. Remember, and I was showing you guys, and there's a big chunk taken out. You guys remember that, right? A day or 2 later, I went back to my dentist, and he's done some work on my front teeth before. I had a space, and I had braces and everything done, and they had, anyway. He just rebuilt it. But there was something about the way that the repair was done, that it changed the geometry and it made my S's really super sharp. I mean, like whistle. And you guys can hear now that my S's are softer. Because what this doctor did, he's really amazing. He actually did some research and he figured out, because he and I had this discussion because, I told him that I do, recording engineering and as engineers we deal with sibilants and we have de-essers, we have, hardware and software de-essing, and we'll modify the equalization and so forth to polish up a vocal and make it have a nice sheen on the vocal, but without being too sibilant and the resulting distortion that comes with it and all that. And quite frankly, I was doing, some voice work and got the mic up close, and I'm hearing pss, 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 every time I talk, and it was ridiculous. So I had to talk with him about it, and he looked at some studies, they were all in Chinese, about people, that have like an overbite, and then, depending on how deep the overbite is, the air has to go through that gap. And just like anything else, if you've got like an air hose with a nozzle, and it's got a really skinny hole in the end of it, and you have high pressure air coming out, it makes a tremendously loud noise. But there's two ways to solve it. One way or another, you relieve the pressure. You can either make the hole bigger, okay, or you can cut the pressure down. And so what he did was he used some of that paper that you put in between, for contact paper to leave a mark where things touch. And he was looking at where my bottom teeth touched the top teeth, and he ground them down a little bit and changed the aperture for the air. And all of a sudden, wow, it was amazing. So I found some text on my phone and I was reading it, and I'm really happy because it's a lot different. It's a lot better now. It's more of a softer sounding S, and it's nice. Way better, because I got to tell you, it was annoying before. All right, that apple was good, and it's not so hot now. How loud was that? I just turned that off. Did you notice like a big difference? Just want to say hi to our one viewer on Twitch. I'm guessing it might be Coco. Could be Myrna. It might be Coco. But yeah. So I'm gonna switch over to the peach in a few minutes. I don't see any trash cans, so when I leave, I got to take all my stuff with me. Just got to make sure I don't leave anything. All right, that apple is done. I'm gonna try the peach now. Peach is great, and it's only let's see, I can't see what the. All right, so this looks like it says, goodness, see this is, yeah, I should have looked at this earlier. It's in Chinese and it's hard for me to read because it's really, really small. But I think this is 4% alcohol. Yep, 4%. This is, okay, so those two are 4%. This one's 7%. These two are 4%, so they're like a beer. And I'll have to see if I even want many, I got 3. I don't even know if I'm going to finish the third one. How many devices? It depends. I have a couple of things that I do. Sometimes I'll use my selfie stick just to hold the phone at like some kind of whatever angle that I want. I have a couple of gimbals. Lately I've been using the DJI OM4. It's the latest one I got. I've been using that a lot with the tripod. I bought a silicone rubber handle grip to go on it, and that makes it a lot easier to handle. And the other thing too is it fell off my bike the other day and it didn't get broken at all. But I've got, well, I can shut the gimbal off and I can disconnect the phone and I can just show you what it looks like with the light on it. Let me do that. The gimbal's going to go kind of nuts here for a second. That's okay. I'm going to turn it off. I'm just going to, okay, so hang on. I hate that it does this. I hate that it goes to this neutral position and just doesn't just shut off. That's what the gimbal looks like. And there's a, let's see if you can see it. I'll do this so you can see it. There's a little metal. This is actually aluminum, and it's what I need to do is stop doing that. What I need to do is I need to turn this up brighter, so I think so you can see it better. This is actually metal, and this moves, and it also rotates. See, that's there's 3 shoes in there. These are cold shoes, and so I got this big LED light that I have here, and so let me turn it back down though because it's really bright. So if you can imagine, I'm holding my gimbal and my phone is, connected to it like this, right? And I have the light that goes with it, wherever I want. And I can adjust the light for whatever. I can turn the light back on me. I can put it down, I can change the color on it. And so this just hooks on by the magnet. So you see this this keyway here? Well, there's a corresponding keyway on the clamp. So what I'm going to do is just go like this and make sure that it's, there you go, it's locked in. And so now the gimbal's off. I press and hold this button. The gimbal goes on. And there we go. So when the native camera app came on, it took precedence over the camera and it took it away from Prism, so that's what happened. Of course, I have a decent case for it, and I have a couple other little clip-on lights, but I normally don't use those. The selfie stick that I use is made by Xiaomi, which I really like, and I'll show that to you. They have 2 colors. I had one that was black and it just wore out. So let me turn this around a little bit so you can see it more. I took the black control out. This is a Bluetooth controller, so when I'm using my native camera app and my phone on the selfie stick, I can start, stop recording or video. Now this is the selfie stick that's all packed up for your bag, and so you pop this open, and then there's the clamp, okay, and it's rotatable, and this is the stick. But this is the best part because the bottom is actually a tripod. This is one of the smartest designs I've ever seen. So it's actually a tripod, and then it's a little too bright, and it just folds up like this as a handle. But even as a handle, it's pretty far away. It's pretty good. So sometimes I'll give this to Phoenix. I don't like using selfie sticks usually by themselves because it's whatever handshake is out here is actually exaggerated by the moment arm. A little bit of shake down here ends up being a tremendous shake. And there's some guys like Swiss Mike that just use selfie sticks all the time, and I like Swiss Mike, but when I watch his live streams, I get motion sick. But that doesn't mean you can't use a selfie stick as a stabilizer. And how you do it is is you open it up, and then this gives you a longer moment arm, and see, then it becomes like a glide cam. If you can imagine, when you're making the moves, you see it doesn't want to tilt that much. See, and even if you put it down further, because it wants to absorb the motion. So if you have a selfie stick with your phone and your phone's balanced, and you don't have your gimbal with you, you can walk around and hold your selfie stick like this, and you will be amazed how steady it is, especially if you use your second hand down here to just touch it a little bit. That's like a glide cam. So when I'm live streaming, most of the time, I got the tripod out, and I'm like this. And it's a little higher than the gimbal, and I probably should have used it tonight, but I wanted to use the gimbal because I didn't know if I was going to walk around or not. So I certainly can walk around, and then once again this folds up, and you just turn it around, and it snaps up here like this onto the handle, and that goes into your bag, and it's very, very convenient. And you know, you can tell I'm an Asian man because I carry a man bag with a selfie stick in it. It's pretty funny. When Brian May was here in 2016, it was hilarious because he's been using these selfie sticks to do these 3D videos, right? And he said I'm gonna use the selfie stick here, and he looked out in the audience and he said, I think this was invented here. And they went, wow. Well, many times when you speak English, we'll learn to understand it. He said, I think the selfie stick was invented here. Pretty cool. He actually came out and said, Dajia Hao, which means, how's everybody doing? The crowd went absolutely wild. All right, now, I just poured this. I should do a review on this too. I just poured this. I love peach. Real peaches, though. I love real peaches so much that I cook with them. I make chili, like not like you would think where you would go to the store and get McCormick chili powder and put it in there. I make a different kind of chili, but the same idea with a lot of hot spices in it. But I always cook peaches, sliced peaches, in my chili, along with the beans and the other content. The best chili I ever made, I smoked several kg. Hey Ken, fist bump to you. Several kg. I smoked several kg pork ribs, and over wood oak, and then I cut the meat off the bones, diced it, and then I used 6 kinds of beans, and I cooked them slow over a real wood fire for about 8 hours. And in the last hour or so, I put my peaches in. That's my idea of a chili. I made that here in Taiwan and it freaked people out. I made a roast chicken with peaches. Now it's funny, you can't just put, any fruit and any meat together. It's kind of strange. It was good, but I find that peach. This is just me personally, and I like flavor mixtures, and Dave does too. Because when you live in Asia, you're always mixing flavors and you're stacking things together, And as much as I like beef and a nice cut of beef, roasted in a Dutch oven or stewed, I find that peaches don't, to me, this is just to me, don't go with beef as well as peaches go with pork. I find peaches go with pork and with chicken. What goes with beef, to me, is apples and cherries too. So yeah, you're in demand. Are you guys having trouble? Like like finding people. I'm hearing this all over the place. I was watching some videos on the supply chain, you know, and how it's failed, and there's going to be really big shortages, and it may straighten out by the second quarter of next year. But I don't know, unemployment is high, yet they're having trouble finding people to work. It's kind of weird, isn't it? But yeah, you can, can't you? You can imagine that peaches would just match better, and they do. It matches really well. Boy, this restroom is rank. Every once in a while I'm getting a whiff of it over here. It's pretty bad. But cherries are another one, but they're really expensive in Taiwan, so I don't like to cook with them too much. I'll take just a couple of them. But I do have a food dehydrator. It's one of the few things I have left that I brought with me from the United States. Acorn squash. Yes, it is. I used to make spaghetti squash. I love that. I went to visit my dad in 1999. And my dad's been married 3 times, and I don't know what it is about him or anybody else. You know, it's strange. There's a lot of YouTube videos about women that always, you know, they want bad boys. They're attracted to bad boys, and then they get burned. And then what they do, they go find another one just like them. You know, it's like it's what you're used to. My dad has always been attracted to dangerous women in some respects, and they've all been vindictive and nasty. But I went down to visit my dad for 4 months, and boy, I mean, I earned my keep. I stayed in his house, but you wouldn't believe the stuff I did, the things that I built for him. And I mean, I cut a hole in the ceiling in the hallway and installed an attic ladder, you know, and I built a whole new set of shelves. I built a workshop. I rewired his lights. You know, it's just a bunch of stuff, right? So, hey, Toshi MJ here. In case you forgot, it's been so long I haven't seen you, man. How you doing? All right. Welcome from New York. But I brought my wok with me, and Toshi can tell you. You know, when you get a wok, right, that you've broken in and you've seasoned it right and you cooked 1,000 meals in it, man, that thing is like, you know, that's gold. So I took that wok with me to North Carolina. And I told my dad I was going to cook dinner one night, and he said, "What do you cook?" I said, "We're gonna have spaghetti squash." Said, "Don't worry about it." So I'm making a special type of spaghetti. He said, "Okay." I got pretty good at making my own sauce, you know, and I made it in that wok, and I cooked it like a Chinese chef, you know, with the sauteing everything and you know, flipping it, and so it was really great. And I cut that spaghetti. You got it, by the way. You got to you have to somehow pressure relieve spaghetti squash, or it'll blow up when you when you cook it. So I always just sliced it down the middle, big squash, just slice it in half, and I lay the sides up, you know. So okay, we'll take my word for it. I, you know, brush it with oil, and I'll bake it until the squash is done. And so I told my father we're having spaghetti, and he's like, "You better put some water on to boil." No, he says, "Well, sauce is done. What are you doing?" I said, "Just have a seat." He said, "Okay." So I brought the squash to the table, and I brought, you know, I had put the sauce into a big bowl with a nice ladle, and what it looked like is I had brought a big bowl of spaghetti sauce and a side dish to the table. They thought I was just going to take a knife and slice up the squash and dish that out. But what I did was I took my dad's plate and a fork, and I stabbed it in the spaghetti squash and lifted it out. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen this, but when you do that, that's why they call it spaghetti squash. These strands come out of the squash, and it looks exactly like pasta. It has the consistency of spaghetti. It holds together very well, and it's, of course, like spaghetti, is completely, vegetarian, and it has that beautiful nutty flavor of a baked squash, and you put some olive oil on it when you're baking it. So it's a whole nother level. It's like the most, to me, like high class pasta you could ever, have. And my father had never heard of spaghetti squash, and neither had his third wife. And I just, I had 2 of them, and it was enough for 3 people, a big pile, and I put my sauce on it. And my dad was raving about it, but not his wife. She ate it. She clearly liked it, but she was silent. And a couple weeks later, I helped my dad move. He sold that house. I helped him pack up and move. We moved to another place. And I was like, Dad, where's that wok, man? I mean, I know I saw it. I know I put it in the thing, on the box. And he just looked at me and he said, well, some people are jealous. I'm like, what? He was of the opinion that she lost it on purpose so I wouldn't cook. Why are people like that? Thanks. We should try it. You're the one that mentioned squash, man. You're absolutely right. Those are great vegetables. You should try it. Get you some spaghetti squash, cut it in half, brush it with olive oil, bake it in the oven. It's been 30 years since I've done it. I can't tell you how long to bake it. I think it's like 40 minutes, 45 minutes, I think. But you can figure that out. Match it with your favorite spaghetti sauce. Just stab it with a fork and grab those strands and pull them right out, and you'll end up basically with an empty shell. But there'll be some residual squash on the bottom that you can scrape out with a spoon. It's fantastic. But, I mean, what kind of a person would do something like that? I mean, if I see somebody that does something, really well and maybe better than me, I'd like to learn from them. Some people just aren't interested in learning. They're interested in competition, and I don't know. I don't get that, man. I really don't get that. I can't tell you why that is. Can't tell you why that is that people do that. And I've never been really jealous. I mean, I've been upset because I didn't get my turn, my chance, my opportunity, but I never wanted anyone else to not have theirs. See, that's the difference. Do you guys understand the difference between jealousy and envy? Jealousy means, and there is a proper role for jealousy in your life. Like between, with married couples, there's a proper amount of jealousy. But jealousy is when you resent not having what someone else has, or you may feel that maybe they don't deserve that. But what envy is everything that jealousy is, but not only do you think that they not deserve it and you want to have it, you want them to not have it. You want to take it away. That's the difference. When somebody says I'm envious, I don't think that's what they mean. Because sometimes people will say, "Oh, I'm so envious of you. You know, you're going on this trip, this place I wanted to go." They're not envious, but it sounds more dramatic when they say that. They should just say they're jealous, because envy means that, you know, they don't want you to go. They want to go. They want to take your trip away from you, and your friends would never say that to you, at least if they're actually your friends. So that's actually a big difference, because I love success stories. I love it when, you know, somebody who has nothing just wins the lottery, you know. And interestingly enough, Taiwan has what we call a receipt lottery. See, for years and years, like for example in Taiwan, there are no checks. You can't go to the bank and get a checking account. People don't use checks because of years and years of rampant gangsters and check fraud. Banks do not offer checks anymore. Today, everybody pays by bank transfer. You buy something from Yahoo, you know, or like the Taiwan equivalent of eBay or something. You just go to an ATM and you do a wire transfer, account to account. It's like really cheap, costs like 50 cents. And you can even do international transfers on your own. You don't need to go to the bank and have them type in a telex machine like, you know, like it's 1980 or something. So in that respect, you know, banking and postal services are way ahead. But without checks, then you do other forms, you know, of payment. But because of that kind of cheating mentality, and it's not that, you know, people here are bad, but nobody likes to pay taxes. And so this is a cash society. I know in a lot of places in the States they're trying to go completely cashless, and it's just so the government can control everything and they know what you pay so they can extract their taxes. But all these small businesses around here, like the Jar Jar store, for example, she has 2 cash registers. She has one cash register that issues receipts. That's the one that I get. But she has another cash register for all like the Filipino and Vietnamese customers that don't care about receipts. And she doesn't give them receipts. And then she doesn't have to pay the taxes on those. But in all fairness, her business, as far as I understand, may come under a flat rate. Because some businesses in Taiwan, it's very easy to open a business, and they do make it easy. If you've got like a little kitchen, you just have a garage in your house, and you turn it into a kitchen. And you open it. You open the restaurant just by opening up the roll-down door. You may be eligible just for a flat rate tax, so that's cool. And the reason that she might, I think she's flat rate, but the reason she does the dual cash registers is because the receipts cost money. You have to buy them, and here's why: because they're all registered with the government with serial numbers. So with our company, with the purchasing that we do when we buy stuff from, other companies, and they sell stuff to us and blah blah blah, we have to give them, it's called a fapiao in Chinese, this uniform receipt, right? And it has what they call the tongbian, which is the tax ID number on it. And in order to encourage people to work with the receipt system in Taiwan, the government started a receipt lottery. This is really cool. So every 2 months they do a random drawing. I forget how many it is. I think it's 20. Of all the receipts that have been processed in the whole country in the preceding 2 months, I don't know how many, I forget. And there's even an app for it. And what you do is you just take the app and you scan all your receipts that you get. You go to 7-Eleven, scan the receipt. Go there and scan the receipt, scan the receipt. Puts them all in the app, and the app informs you if you won. But they have a lottery, and they award prizes for people. So a lot of times you'll see people go to the store and they're like, no, I want my Fapiao because it might be a winning number. That was the goal, and it's working. So, I've won like 200, 300 NT. That's like maybe like $6 or $10 or something like that, and that's cool. You go out and get something to eat. Go get a steak or a couple of these drinks or something. That's fun, right? But one day I was in Taoyuan City in a 7-Eleven. Oh, and as a result, okay, let me continue. Because these receipts have potential value, in the lottery, they're often used as a charitable donation. Like, for example, any place that issues a receipt, like at a parking garage, you go to park and then you pay your parking charge. They give you a receipt. There will be a box, a clear, box that you can drop the receipt in for charity. And sometimes it's full. And the theory is that you donate these receipts, and the charity may end up with a winning number, and they get to keep the proceeds, right? And it's an easy way. I think it's a pretty good way to donate because people don't actually feel it. I mean, they don't know, they don't look at it and remember the number and go, oh my goodness, I never should have gave that to them. They just, give it away to the charity, and then if the charity gets the money, that's cool. So you rarely know, like, who won, unless it's the number right before you and the number right after you, and you remember where you were when you got it. And that happened to me once. I was in Taoyuan City, and I was at a 7-Eleven, and there's a guy there. I think he seemed like he was a little slow. He had some problems, and he was asking people for the Fapiao, right? And so he was like, Fapiao ge wo, please give me the receipt. And the guy in front of me gave him the receipt, but I didn't. I took the receipt home, and when the numbers came out, I was one number off. The number before me won. And that number would come from the same place because you buy the Fapiaos, they're consecutively numbered, you see. You might buy, from 0 to 499, and somebody's going to get, 500 to, So then what happens is, if that happens, and you can look at the Fapiao and the date, and I remember I said, I was at the 7-Eleven, I said, yeah, that guy that said, give me the Fapiao, he got it. He got the number. So I guess it's worth asking people for it if they don't want it. And as I recall, it was like $300 or something US. It's a pretty good little amount, enough that people would argue about it over here. And the other thing is, you don't have to pay taxes on it or anything, So you just go to the there's a government office, and you just pick up your winnings, and it's cool, and you don't feel the pain. But in addition to that, though, a lot of places I go, like the parking garage, people are in a hurry. They punch their car license plate number in, it comes up. They put the money in, And change drops down. They take the change and they walk away because they don't want to weight the things that they're printing, and it drops the fapiao down in the tray. And so a lot of times, several times a week, I'll go to a place and there might be 1, 2, or 3 extra fapiao in there that people just don't care about. And then I'll get them. So, but now here's the funny thing. My wife will come downstairs sometimes, and she'll go, "We won." I'm like, "What did we win?" And she said, "Eat by quiet, fapiao." It's like 100 NT. 100 NT is like $3. Really? She's all happy, you know. It's funny. And I go, "Well, what was it? What was the fapiao that you know, that won?" And she'll say, like, it's 7-Eleven and Kirin beer. I'm like, "Oh, really?" So, between you and me, who do you think bought the beer? And she was like, "Well, yeah, it's you bought some beer." I said, "What? It's my 100 NT. It's my receipt." "Oh, no. It's my receipt." That is so funny. Oh, you know what? There's a fan up there. Boy, oh boy. Oh, you know what? Those lights are on. All right, you know what? I look at this, man. I did. I'm gonna turn this around this way. Look at that. There's a fan up there. See? And it's one of those fans that when you turn it, it rotates. So here's what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going to see if I can figure out how to turn the fan on. Let's go over here. Okay, the switch is off. Did it go on? Nope. So it's not that. The switch is already on. I think that's for the lights in there. Yeah, okay. So these two switches are already on. Is this switch? Okay, let's do this. Let's see what happens if I turn this on. Did it go on? No, it didn't. Okay. So that was it. Okay. Oh, by the way, this is the postal service. Parcel pickup, parcel post, put it in the mailbox, return your parcel. It's pretty cool. So these are like little lockers, and you can, you know, set your, you can, there's ordinary mail, express mail. So it's pretty cool. And there's a really good, you know, post office website there. So now, problem is, I don't actually see any wires. So, maybe it's over here. I'm not really looking at the camera. I'm just looking where I'm going. So I can't guarantee how good this looks. But there may be like an outlet box over here or something. Is there like oh, this is all wow, that's all ghost money and stuff. Now that looks like, is it, that looks like a timer for something. Did that turn the fan on? Oh, it started to go on. I saw it move. that's it. I think I found it. Okay. Oh yeah, baby. There it is. Wow. Tell you what though, it's too high, so I'm gonna turn it down. But then when I'm done, I'm gonna turn it off. So these are the different. Okay, so this is medium and it's high. So I'm gonna turn it down to like that. And these will be, if I'm not mistaken, I think these will be different directions. But let me see. I want to see if I can feel it. Oh yeah. Look at that. I'm turning off my little personal fan and I'm leaving that thing on. I like these little adventures we go on here. So let me do this though. I think it's a little too high. So maybe I need to go the other direction. Turn it off. So when I leave, I gotta remember to turn that off. Hold on. It's not like it's okay. It's not like my fan at home. Yeah, yes. It's not like my fan at home. So I actually didn't read the Chinese except for the one that said medium. So it's on low, and that's nice and cool. I just got to remember to turn it off. So it's a nice space next to the temple, and the temple's not open now, so it's not too creepy. I'm gonna try the last one. We'll try the Humid, the plum. This guy here. All right, that was cool. Oh, when that comes around, that's one of those fans. You saw it rotates, right? And it's very practical. So imagine on a hot day with that thing on full. I got a table full of people sitting here, guys just sitting out here hanging out, and it hits around each person's pretty nice. So I like these little things, little hexagonal. Yeah. That noise, that's funny. Really? Okay. Well. Is. Works well. Alright. Yeah, so that was it. I want to move this way. I keep pressing it the wrong way. So yeah, that's cool. How do I never notice? I just didn't look up. And then this stuff right here is really good. This is, well, I'm having a blast with this. So, some guys coming by, hanging out. It's interesting because none of these guys are trying to talk with me, so they don't know me, and they're probably a little apprehensive thinking that they have to speak English, and they probably don't. So, guy came by earlier, and I didn't really pay much attention to, but he was checking me out. I don't think he's the temple master. Each temple has a master, and I don't mean like the abbot. I mean like the manager. And most of the temple masters that I know I've seen around are really, really nice. They always invite me in for tea and stuff. They want to sit down and hang out and stuff. I'm usually live streaming. But if the temple master comes by, first thing I'm going to tell him is, I'm gonna, when I leave, it's time for me to leave. I'm taking my trash and I'm going to turn off the fan. So now that I know where it is, the control, that's cool. That's cool that we found that. And it is kind of in a logical place over there, so. Alright. Now how's the signal? The funny thing is, there is a cell site right down there, like 200 meters away, and yet I was getting kind of dismal internet speeds. It was not really all that good. So you'll have to let me know what the signal's like. Nobody said anything about that, so. Wow. Well, I mean, ask him if you made a smart purchase. I don't know. I mean, does it serve your purpose? I haven't actually. Have I seen the 1 terabytes? I know I've seen half. That's pretty cool. $169. That's pretty good. I mean, you can put a bunch of movies and stuff on that. That's cool. Oh, that reminds me. I wanted to ask you guys this because I don't even know the answer to this. Depends on what you're using it for, and it depends how fast it is. For certain applications like audio playback and things, I mean, speed does make a difference. For video, speed does make a difference. Like with SD cards, you usually want a class 10 U3, for video. But yeah, I've got a 64 gig. It's not a 1 terabyte, but I got a 64 gig, and it's nice. I like it a lot. I got a 1 terabyte, one of those Toshiba, portable drives. It's USB 3, and I like that a lot. It comes with a little case, and that's nice because I can use it on my Surface Pro and put it in my bag. It's nice. I want to take stuff off the desktop and do it that way. Now I have a business meeting. 2 weeks from today. I'm meeting JTS at their Taichung headquarters. After all this time, it's great. George arranged it, and I'm going to be meeting the bigger boss. And we're going to talk about doing, some product introduction videos and things. And now that I got my teeth fixed, I'm not going to be. I still can't help the fact that I'm an old guy, but I got to tell you, I don't think it matters. If you look at Adam Audio, just how it sounds, Adam Audio on YouTube, they've been having a series on mastering with, what's the guy's name, John? He's a really good old school mastering engineer. He's 69 years old. He's still doing it, man. He knows his stuff. And so I think in a lot of cases the age kind of has a credibility thing. But I want to talk about movies because I don't have access to many movies. I have a TV box, and I can get like the standard movie channels, Star Movies and HBO and Cinemax and all that stuff. But the thing is I just don't have much time to. I very rarely sit down and turn on like HBO or Cinemax or any History Channel or nothing. Most of the videos that I watch are on YouTube. But there's a movie that came out, Ford versus Ferrari. and I've been seeing clips on YouTube, and I want to see the movie. So, you know, everybody says, "Oh, get Netflix, get Netflix." You know, I'm going to tell you something. I mean, I don't want a subscription, paying every month, because I'll never use it. I don't have enough time. I don't want to start getting in the habit of watching a bunch of movies in order to justify the what's it, $10 a month or whatever it is. I just want to be able to like watch this movie, and that's it. And then maybe later that movie, and that's it. I don't want to be presented with a palette of 150,000 movies of all kinds, you know, genres and stuff, and I have to sit through them and stuff. So how do you guys do that? I mean, I don't even know. I'm usually not a consumer. I make music, you know, I create these things, but I'm usually not much of a media consumer. So if you want to watch like a movie, just one, how do you do it? Do you steal it from some BitTorrent site? I mean, I don't know. I don't want to do that. Anyway. You mean of a live stream? Yeah. Or do you mean at the theater? So, yeah, interesting. What are you going to put on that 1 terabyte thumb drive? I mean, you could hold like hundreds of recording sessions on there. It's amazing. Hundreds of albums, hundreds of movies, thousands actually. And the question is, are you guys going to watch the new James Bond movie? It's interesting that Daniel Craig is back, even after he said that he was all done with Bond and the franchise. He didn't want anything to do with being James Bond again. But, you know, when I first saw him in the first James Bond movie that he did, I kept thinking, nah, he's got the wrong look. He's not the right guy. But I watched the movie and I was like, dang, he's good. He's really good. It's funny going back and watching some of those other stuff like Cowboys and Aliens. Funny. It's really funny. That was an interesting movie. That was a very interesting movie, I thought. I enjoyed that. Cowboys and Aliens. That was cool. But anyway, how do you just like watch one movie? I guess I should just do some research and find out. I guess probably, can you like rent a movie on Amazon for like one time or something? I should do that, just to take a look. I read a lot of Amazon Kindle books. I read books on my phone, on my Android tablet, and on my Surface Pro, and it's really nice. A couple books that I can recommend too, if you guys are interested. There's one book that I think, it's one of those books, right, that if you looked, I want to read this, hang on. Oh, okay. But you made out okay, because there really wasn't anything wrong, right? You just got a new power supply and you're back in action, right? Okay. There's a couple services that I found. There's one service, I think it's $7 a month, that backs up any number of devices and you know, unlimited. I gotta find that. John on the Reaper blog on YouTube mentioned that, and I gotta go back and find that, because I need to subscribe to that and just back up everything. because you never know. But every once in a while, you know, there's a book that you would like never look at because you're just like, well, it just doesn't appeal to me, right? But there was a book that a guy lent me, the hardcover back in, I think, 2000, and I never forgot it. It was a riveting book, and about a month ago I bought it again on Amazon Kindle. I've been reading. It's fantastic. It's I think it's $20. It's called Tall Trees, Tough Men, and it is riveting. I mean, from the first chapter, it's like I can't put it down. Because what I didn't know was, and I read a long time ago and I'd forgotten some of this, but what I didn't know when I first read it was, you know, the West, and in general, the colonization of North America. I just go to the Amazon store through my device because I don't actually have a hardware Kindle. I just use Kindle software. You know, so if I want to buy something, I click on the store and it opens the Kindle store in a browser and I just go there. But more than any other thing, see, I used to think that, you know, like the Old West, and of course it started in the East, that, you know, North America, what's now the United States and Canada, I always thought that that territory was conquered by the gun, you know, the firearm. No, it was the axe. The axe is responsible. The axe is the greatest tool of colonization from like the 1600s well into the 20th century. But it was really amazing. This book is, you can't stop reading it. Back in the old days, they didn't have saws. A good axeman could hew lumber. Now, we've all heard about, we use terms like, you know, they're rough hewn and things. But what does that actually mean? That means that the lumber wasn't cut with a saw, it was cut with an axe. And to see guys that can cut sheets of wood from a log, sheets, just like they're sawn, with a log and be totally smooth, like they're planed. Or you want a bunch of like 4x4s or 4x8s, you know, and they're all hewn by axes. It's just amazing. And so a professional woodsman could put up basically an entire house with an axe. Well, think about that. And no saw. It's really something. Saws were a recent invention. And then, you know, they wasted a lot of material because the early saws were very thick. And so some of them had a half-inch, what they call a kerf. So you lose a half-inch of the material on the floor as sawdust. And if you've got, you know, 2 million board feet of logs coming down the river, and you're cutting them with a saw that cuts a half-inch out of each time it slices, it doesn't take long for that to add up. Of course, you can sell the sawdust, but it's not the same as having it still available, you know, in board feet. So it's a really interesting book. So, I just finished reading it again, and it was an absolute blast. It was fantastic. It's 23:29, and the temperature has dropped. Of course, this fan now is great. I wish I'd known about that fan earlier. I never would have put my little neck fan on. But you know, now that I know about this place, this isn't too bad of a place. And if I come here again, you know, maybe the people will get used to me. So, Yeah, that's a cool machine. I used to use one of those too. But you got to know how to set it right. We had a guy that was careless and he dug into it too much, and the bit, the rotary bit on the router grabbed the log, or grabbed the board, and it was too much pressure. There's more pressure, than the abrasion on the belt, and it shot that piece of board right out the back of it. Good thing nobody was standing there. So, yeah, small moves, a little bit at a time, right? You just crank it down so it just barely touches, and look at it, say, what do I need? Measure it. What he wanted to do was he wanted to take it all the way down where it was supposed to be, like in one shot. Can't do that. A lot of things are like that. Audio processing's like that. You do passes, a little bit at a time. So, but anyway, there's another phenomenon too. It's going on YouTube. MGTOW. You guys heard about this? I mean, you see these MGTOW. It's a huge thing. They are. And you got to use hearing protection. But this guy's here working in these factories. You see me do these factory shorts, these factory videos on my channel. And every time I go there, I'm wearing earplugs, and they are not. All day long. And they're sometimes using jackhammers, and they're banging the gating on the pieces, on the metal to knock the sand off in the molds, and it's huge sound pressure levels, and they do it all day long, and it just doesn't bother them. But like my ears are ringing right now, ringing from 1,000 shows, hundreds of records, so you gotta be careful. But the MGTOW movement, there are so many videos coming out now that I've been watching, and I'm glad that I'm not having to deal with this, because you guys know I'm married. I got a beautiful daughter, I'm a beautiful wife. My wife is nice, she's really great, and my wife doesn't like to come on camera. She thinks she's ugly. It's a typical, woman thing, but she's actually quite beautiful, and she's 49 years old, and she looks like she's 29 to me. I met her when she was 32, and there's actually like no difference to me in how she looks. And she's more of a traditional woman, and here in Taiwan, women do take on more traditional roles. Although it's kind of interesting, they are very modern and very up to date, but there are women that like to stay home and take care of kids, and there are women that like to go out in the workplace and make a lot of money and have a nanny, have a maid. But the point is, though, the thing about loyalty and respect, that's a big difference than what I used to have to deal with back in the States, right? The sand is actually really heavy, and yeah, I know what you mean. And there are things in the foundry. It's more going to be smoke. It's more going to be fumes and gas than anything else. So you need good ventilation. But yeah, and Mr. Lian's factory is really high, so this stuff it's like maybe 4 stories high inside, and so that kind of stuff goes up to the top, right? But the MGTOW is men going their own way. And there's all kinds of videos. And they're usually reaction videos to TikToks by women that are single mothers, chose to be single mothers. There's no father in the picture. And now they're looking for a husband, and nobody wants him, And so the videos are like, a real man would step up. And then there's a reaction video that would say, no, we're not simping just because you want to be promiscuous and buy into that lifestyle. So man, I watched a couple of these videos and I'm like, you know something? I am so glad that I am off the market. I don't have to deal with any of that because it's crazy. It's really crazy. And it's interesting how some people are traditional only when it suits them. Yeah, I want you to pay the bill. But honestly, I'm strong, I'm independent, and I can do what I want. But when we go out on a date, you got to pay the bill. So it's pretty interesting. This has been, the last couple of weeks has been very enlightening for me with regard to some of these issues, which I don't have to deal with. So I'm all set. All right, now what I'm going to start doing, I'm going to set this up probably starting next week. Yeah, they are, but it's not as prevalent as it used to be. But back in the old days, you know, when I was catting around, when I was in my 20s, there was no AIDS. It was amazing. Anyway, I am going to start simulcasting late night on my original MJ Klein channel. I'm going to use Restream. I'm going to keep it here on Time Live TV for a while until I can make the transition, and I'm going to simulcast on the other channel. So I'll actually be broadcasting on 2 YouTube channels for a while, and on Twitch and on Twitter Live. But I think I'm going to phase out Twitter Live. You know, it had its day in Periscope, and it's my personal opinion that Twitter blew it. It's my personal opinion that Twitter blew the opportunity when they could have taken everybody that had followed us on Periscope, who had a Twitter account, to bring those followers over to Twitter, but they didn't. So it's like that with everybody. I had 2,000 something followers on Periscope, which I didn't even try to get, but I have like 420 or something, 430 on Twitter. And a lot of the people, that have Twitter accounts that were following me on Periscope did not follow my Twitter account because they weren't interested in Twitter. They're interested in live streaming, and I understand that. But Twitter had the opportunity, to pull those forward, and they chose not to. And personally, I just don't see Twitter Live in the long run amounting to anything. So I'm broadcasting on Twitter Live now, kind of as a courtesy. It doesn't cost me anything, just like Twitch. I don't really have any followings on Twitch, but it's easy to do. I could go back to D Live if I wanted to, but it's like a rabbit hole. So my main thrust is YouTube. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Taiwan Live TV for Taiwan specific content, like those video shorts, or if I go to like night markets, temples, points of interest, things like that on Taiwan Live TV. Other than that, I'm just going to go to my old MJ Klein YouTube channel. And it's funny because the other day I was looking, and I was checking it out, and some of the early days of live streaming on YouTube were very primitive. I got some live streams going back to early 2016, where I used a clip-on lens and it was fuzzy. It wasn't the lens wasn't centered and stuff. Hey Matthew, fist bump to you, man. How's it going? How's your family? How's your little guy doing? And I was looking at some of those the other day, and I was like, you know, I can't believe that we, at one time, that we actually thought, like, that looked good. I can't believe that there was a time where we thought that kind of, that quality level of live stream looked good. Because we're all spoiled now by 720p. I remember I used, I forget what it was. I used some app, and I remember I did a broadcast. I broadcast to YouTube in 720p, and it was a huge thing, right? And people, I was kind of freaking out. So, we're doing very well, thank you. We all got new glasses this week. My wife got some new glasses. I think they look fantastic. Phoenix got new glasses. Their glasses they got for everyday use. Mine, I got a new set of computer glasses, and so I don't have them on now. But the next time you see me in the studio, I'm going to wear them, and they're pretty decent. I like them a lot. I'm playing with my power cable here. I'm just trying to get this. The way I want it. Hold on. There you go. Okay. So yeah, no, things are good. Just checking my battery here. Oh, we're good. I can charge it, but it doesn't really charge the phone. It just kind of maintains the battery in the phone where it is. So. Anyway, Matthew, I'm at a temple on the side of the temple. Restroom over here, got a postal service kiosk here, and most important, above me they have a rotating, oscillating fan, and I've just been having a nice time sitting here because I had my personal fan on, the one that goes around my neck and blows in my face, and now, I don't know if you can hear it or not. I don't know if you can hear it, but it really just, it's nice. The fan is nice, but I gotta make sure I turn it off before I leave, so. But hate to do this, Matthews, I know you just got here, but I'm gonna sign off. I've been on the air for an hour, 34 minutes, running my mouth this whole time. About a bunch of different stuff too, so hopefully none of it will get me banned. But maybe that would be an advantage of broadcasting on both channels at the same time, haha. Now, so those of you who saw my Phoenix Media Forge Studio HAPS broadcast a couple of weeks ago, it was a resounding failure because even though I selected HD audio in the setup and I fed it a stereo signal off of my console, the HAPS playback is in mono. The actual live stream may be in stereo, but I doubt it. So anyway, it's just want to let you know about that. I'm going to have to do some future testing and see if that's true. If it broadcasts in stereo, but it saves it in mono, because that would suck. But yeah, thank you, Matthew. Thank you so much. Thanks, Dave, Ken, Mike. Everybody, it's time for me to sign off, and we'll see you next time, at least on Sunday. Thanks now, you guys. Take care. Have a good night. 再见.晚安. It's fantastic. All right.